where she wrote about how they told her to get a court order for the original podcast. In the Yellow Rain Fallout Radio Lab response by NPR, it says, on the last page, the first paragraph, it says, Robert did not tell her to get a court order, but it said, and under court order, you can always reveal other things, like meaning, that's not exactly what it is. She just, saw court order, and then she used that.
Well, I guess, it doesn't really strengthen or weaken her claim about yellow rain, because it brings attention to, the long suffering. But in a sense, it kind of weakens her claim that yellow rain is a chemical weapon, because she's drawing attention away from it, and all these articles are basically just responding to the way she was treated and racism and all that stuff. So she's just drawing attention away from the chemical stuff that her claim. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you because, like she said, that she's talking about her baby. She's trying to get people on her side. She's trying to get them to feel bad for her because she lost her child because of this occurrence. And so, well, I kind of agree, but I kind of disagree with you guys. I agree that she did wanted to write about her baby and stuff so that other people could sympathize with her, but then her use of pathos doesn't actually weaken her argument that yellow rain was a chemical weapon, because if we take a look at truth and what matters, although this article was arguing that her use of pathos did weaken her argument, some of his information that he uses actually supports that her use of pathos didn't weaken her argument, because in the first paragraph, in the middle it starts, it was indeed within the bounds of wartime possibility that chemical weapons were being used on people. And in just the second last paragraph on the first page, when he talks about Robert Krulwich, how he was saying that Khalil was trying to monopolize the people, he also says that Robert Krulwich, one of the show's hosts, considered her terrible breakdown as a clever misdirection, an attempt to monopolize the interview and obscure the truth claims being investigated. Was he right? No, but he was correct. He was absolutely wrong in the sense that Amy nor his niece had any intention of lying or monopolizing the conversation. But he was correct to say that there was something more at play than the facts. And I kind of close-read at the last sentence, something more at play than the facts. The fact is the beast poop, which is what they think is the truth. But then the something more at play is their experience of believing that it's a chemical warfare and the people suffering.
There's about 45 seconds left.
There was something more at play. I think he just meant that the Hmong people experienced a lot, like the actual experience, but still their experience just shows that they went through a lot, not that yellow rain was a chemical weapon. And what the white privilege in the interview, the question asked, what if it was true that they know their lives better than we think they know their lives? Meaning the scientists talk like they were know-it-alls, but their experience still doesn't prove anything about chemical weapons.
Well, you can say that, but then it is a possibility that it could be chemical weapons, because it was during a time of war, and during war they did use chemical weapons. Yeah. And plus, from their facts and experiences, people were dying, animals were dying, so that's a possibility.
There's a possibility, but there's still a chance of no, it wasn't a chemical weapon.
Yellow rain wasn't a chemical weapon? Or
Yeah.
chemical? Yeah.
Yellow rain wasn't.
Yellow rain, I think the fact that yellow rain was a chemical weapon, it wasn't supported in her argument. But the fact that chemicals were being used as a chemical warfare.
And how the video, the host, how they treated her, and I think that was what she was focusing more on.
But don't you think it's unfair to say that the Hmong are correct because the Hmong doesn't have the advanced technology to experiment on the chemical weapon at the time. So it's not fair to say, oh, the Hmong people were wrong because they're only speaking of experience. When the American scientists tested, it was, but then more along the way it's no. So it's kind of like a controversy where you just can't say that the Hmong, don't know anything but only speak of experience.
Yeah, that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that chemical warfare was being used because if, like how Kalia said, how do you not create bombs if not with chemicals? Because chemicals are needed to make bombs. So I'm not saying that the Hmong are not wrong about the fact that chemicals were being used to kill them. I'm just saying that maybe the yellow rain was misinterpreted.
Okay. Woo! Ha! Okay, let's have some first. Yes, Nick.
I think it would have been nice if everybody talked. Or not talk more than once, but if everybody talked.
So some people didn't talk?
Three.
Three.
And then people had like good and interesting comments. I just really get to explain.
Yeah, Rosie?
I think you guys did okay on filling all, but you guys didn't go so off topic.
Voice.
I think you guys didn't go as off topic, but then I think that some people looked really confused at like other people's points, and I think you guys could, if you guys were confused, you guys should have clarified. So it would be strong.
Coming.
I feel like they were just agreeing or disagreeing the whole time. They were building up off. They weren't asking questions to like take the Socratic seminar to a higher level.
Were there any questions?
Yeah, people.
How many? Okay, is that enough to have a really good discussion?
No.
Our time.
I think
so.
We need more. We need more questions. I agree with Komeng. More questions to further the discussion instead of just agreeing and disagreeing. Okay, yeah, Sandy?
I like how you guys use evidence, like a lot of you guys, because you guys didn't just, it wasn't just an opinion, you guys used evidence to back yourselves up. But then I will kind of agree with Komeng, like it was mainly like agree, disagree. That's like the word I heard the most. It wasn't really expanding or building up from each other, so you guys can feel it.
Okay, comments for individuals, individual feedback. Rosalind?
Well, I noticed that she was questioning people's stances, so she was in a way trying to build up, kind of. Well, she was just questioning them, So I guess that was good.
Okay. Yeah. Komeng?
I feel like Melissa kind of agreed on both sides.
Were you conscious of doing that, Melissa? Were you trying to do that?
No.
Okay.
She said it's beeple. It came back to her and she said it's a chemical weapon. And then it came back to her and it's like beeple.
So that's where it would have been good to have someone else in the circle, like hold her accountable and ask her a question, right? Like, wait, Melissa, which side are you arguing, right? Sean?
She said the same thing for Drew, because she like, it doesn't weaken or strengthen, and she said it weakens.
Okay, any other feedback for individuals in the circle? Okay, let's give these guys 2 claps. 1, 2. That was great to start us off. Thank you. Let's switch. Switch, please. You guys have 30 seconds to switch. Go. 30 seconds.
Should I start it?
Thank you. Drew, you want to film now? Is it still on?
Yeah, it's still on.
Okay. All right. It's still on.
I'm an actor.
I agree with the sheet.
The back of Sean's head.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Time for round 2. You guys have 10 minutes in which to discuss. You may refer to the group that came before you. Everybody in the outer circle, you guys will be giving feedback to the people in the inner circle. Any questions before we begin? All right, go ahead.
Okay, so I kind of thought of this when we were doing it now. So I said that Yang's uses of pathos did not claim that Yellow Rain was a